right, round two. I don't know what happened with the first one. Apparently, I lost connection, but I can still see everyone's chatting, and no one can see me. And yeah, it was bad. So sorry about that, everyone. I'm gonna wait till everyone kind of joins this one here. Um, Sorry about that, everyone. I'm not sure why what happened with the connection there. YouTube just kind of lost my feed, but apparently I can still see everyone chatting in. Let's see. There we go. So round two. Sorry about that, everybody. I was gonna wait for some people to join in here. Make sure everyone has this new link. Hey, yep, I'm back. I don't know what happened. I still saw your chats. It was like, yeah, it's lagging. Like, yeah, I think you lost connection. I'm like, I'm here. I don't know what happened. So apologize about that, everyone, but we're back. I saw a question. Hey, Zach. I saw a question come in. Before. I don't know why. I guess I'm chatting back to all of you, and then for whatever reason, like you guys couldn't see me. So yeah, sorry about that. All right. I am back. I think someone did have a question though. If you're on yet, go ahead and just kind of repost your question in the chat here, and then we'll kind of get started on all the Q&As. While we're doing that though, I'm just gonna kind of continue on. So let's see. Remember, a new competitor came in Google Ads very aggressively, throwing everything off for everyone else. Yep, I changed back to manual CPC, raised bids like you suggested. Guess what? Did it work? Too bad, like it was Lord of the Rings epic battle. I'm Steve. Hey, Caden. It's so funny. Caden, you gotta say daily Google News. To be read like it was Lord. Yes. So let's see. It's working. We are getting back to the top of page, first position, pressure chair, and they're slowly losing ground. The rest haven't recuperated from the new competitor's brutal attack. Looks like they are the only ones fighting back. We are the only ones fighting back. We have regained position, but we still need to take back the fort. Should I keep raising bids or stay still to see how the whole thing develops? So I would keep raising bids, but find a balance between what. Oh shoot! Sorry, Daily Google News. Thank you, Caden. Caden is now an employee at Solutions 8, so everyone say hi to the new Solutions 8 employee, Caden. But see, I would raise your bids, but make sure you're going to not spend too much that it actually starts to hurt the amount of clicks you can get for the daily budget. So as an example, if you're spending, I'm just going to use round numbers, $100 a day, $10 clicks, you get 10 clicks. You increase that to $20 a day, and you're going to get 5 clicks because you still have the same amount of money that you're spending. But if you increase your CPCs, you're going to start to reduce your traffic. Now, it doesn't matter that you are winning at the top if you only have 2 people a day click on it. So Cecilia, I would find a good position that you can aggressively bid, but not overshoot your budget. And what you're going to find is an apex of, can I bid this much and that's all I can spend? And that's where you should stop. You don't necessarily want to keep going up until you're like, I'm getting 1 click a day, but I'm number 1 all the time. Then you just lost all your traffic, and now you're never going to make any sales, and Google Ads is useless to you now. So find that good balance between bidding aggressive enough that you can still get a good enough position, but not too aggressive that you don't get as much clicks as you used to. So that's good, unless you can raise your budget. But that's a good way to think about it. All right, high tech hippie. That's awesome. Hello, John. Question regarding lead sculpting on a lead gen campaign. How can you give feedback to Google to let them know which leads are better than others or which leads you want more of? So what I would do is a few different things, as well as any basic steps on video campaign optimization. Yep. So a few things. For lead sculpting, what I would do is, it depends on if you're using a CRM tool and if you have a good enough sales team that is receiving that lead, giving you instantaneous feedback, or at least feedback very quickly. What I mean by that is if you have a person that comes in and is a good lead, one of the things I would first start off with is make sure your form fields can have some sort of qualifier in there. That's step 1. Average company size, whatever it is, something that is going to say, if you don't have this information, I don't want you as a lead. So, and you can make it binary, like a radio drop down or yes or no, a checkbox. You can actually use Google Tag Manager to say that if this form was filled out in this specific way, if this was yes, if this was no, you can actually develop 2 different thank you pages and then use 2 different conversion actions. So as an example, we did this in a company that was doing debt consolidation, where it says if they have over $10,000 in debt, they enter that in the field, it was counted as a conversion. If they had under $10,000 in debt, it was not counted as a conversion because that was not monetizable. Then we only counted the ones that were of filling out the form the way that we wanted to. Like if they answer this yes or no, it's good or bad for us. If that's not possible, then we move on to step 2. Step 2 is after they go through the form field and you counted whatever it is, you would want to have UTM parameters being passed through. So campaign, ad group, keyword, ad are good ones to start with on UTM parameters. And then if you have a good result in the CRM tool, you'd have it as another conversion action that you send back to the campaign. And you import that as a good conversion action into Google Ads, and that counts as a conversion in that campaign. When 2 things are going to happen. 1, you're going to see more conversions for the keywords that are delivering good results. But 2, you're also going to be able to physically be able to see that and say, okay, we generated 10 leads and nothing came from this keyword, but this one had 6 leads and 3 of them were good. You're going to be able to identify that within the Google Ads ecosystem because you're piping back in the quality leads via UTM parameters and just seeing where to go. So if you're going to use UTM parameters on the CRM side, you can see that in that way. You can using Gclid, you could pipe that back into Google Ads to say what was the good leads that actually came from that, so you can use that as a good conversion. Some advanced ways you can do that though is that new conversion action, you're going to actually give it a monetary value, like $1,000 as an example for each one of those imported leads that were good, and then you can use target ROAS. And what's going to happen is Google's going to identify that the good quality conversions are coming from those specific keywords that have a monetary value. And then if you could have not target ROAS, but maximize conversion value, start there depending upon your lead flow. If you have a lot of leads, then you can use target ROAS. But if you have little leads, use maximize conversion value. And it'll actually see that a new lead is worth $10, but a new closed lead is worth, let's say a new closed lead is worth $1,000, and you're going to see that campaign start to have a ROAS. And it's going to start to increase the amount of conversions that you're going to get of those good quality leads. That's what I would start with there. The second thing about let's see, you had a question about basic steps on video campaign optimization. Only use TrueView for conversion. So only use, in my opinion, if you're counting conversions. If you're not like, hey, I just have branded or CPM, it's not just it's a awareness campaign, but always use maximize conversions first. Give it at least 20 or 30 conversions, switch over to target CPA, and then keep a high keep a high CPA goal. And then that CPA goal, you're going to gradually reduce over time. Things that you don't want to do though, is you don't want to start shutting off videos. If you, let's say, have 10 videos in one campaign, don't start shutting off videos that have high CPA because it could have been the first, second, or third video viewed before they saw the 4th video and converted. So think about how people view YouTube ads. They might see 3 ads before they convert. Well, doesn't mean that the third one's just always the best. It means the first one, second one did get them there. So in terms of campaign structure though, I would have one campaign, one ad group with all of your videos targeted to a very specific audience. So make one audience as an example that's going to like a DSK, like a dynamic or a display search keyword, have 5 keywords in there. Clone that same campaign 5 times, do one for custom audience, do one for similar audience, do one for placements, and test all of those ads very specifically to his one audience, and it's going to find the audience that resonates with which ad the most, and then you're going to have multiple campaigns that are going to start perform very well. What you don't want to do is be too incestuous with your campaigns. You want to say like, these 5 ad groups and these 10 ads in each ad group going to kind of everybody here, and I'll test that for a little bit. It's too much mismatch. So be very specific. These group of videos in one campaign with one ad group with a high daily ad spend with maximized conversion for that one audience, rinse and repeat. All right. Do you find that Google prioritize responsive search ads of text? Yes. Holy crap, they do. When I have 2 text ad, 1 responsive, I feel like, yeah. So I actually did this test with a client because they didn't like the responsive search ads, but we had like 3 responsive search ads and 1 expanded text, or no, sorry, 3 expanded text, 1 responsive. We simply just shut off the responsive, and we didn't gain any new impressions and clicks on the expanded. We just lost impression share. And then we did the flip flop where we actually turned off the 3 expanded and left 1 responsive. And we actually got more than the 3 text ads. So absolutely, Google is prioritizing responsive search ads. They're actually already gotten rid of expanded text ads. You won't be able to create one, I think, as of like next year in 2022 sometime, if your campaign still has them active. But yeah, it's going to be you're definitely going to see responsive search ads that are way overtaking priority expanded text ads. All right. How accurate is Google CPC prediction tool inside Keyword Planner? 40%. And here's the reason why. 33 big money. If you're going to be looking at Google Keyword Planner typically does like an exact match. And that exact match actually gives you, because it's an exact match, like a higher than normal CPC. And then if you're going to do like phrase match and long tail phrase match, and broad match is going to be, you know, something else, and maybe like long tail exact match is actually a little bit less expensive. So just look at Keyword Planner as, are these keywords going to be running with at least some search volume, and is it not crazy expensive, like $200 per click? And just imagine that if they're 50% within your goal, like I can only spend 10, it shows 20, yeah, I'll run. Just look at, you know, trends in like how much they're being either more searched or less searched. That trend will say like declining, stable, or increasing. Is the keyword have enough search volume? At over 10 searches per month is enough search volume for Google to say like, yeah, we'll run that keyword wherever you want it to go. And then is the CPC within 50% of what I would need it to be? That's how I would look at Keyword Planner. It's about halfway accurate, but it's a good indicator of like, is this even going to run or not? So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Tips for transitioning a phrase match only campaign to a pure broad match only campaign. Yeah, I would, Corey, this is a big, major long held best practices will change. Okay, so here is, Corey, what I would say is, if you do want to transition, make sure that if you take, let's say 30 phrase match and you're going to turn them all into broad match, you need to have a big budget. And that's hard. So what I would recommend is, if you have 30 phrase match, take your top 5, turn off the other 25, turn those 5 into broad match. And then if you're not going to increase your budget, then give it the same amount of time, or give it some time. And then as you see those start to win and lose, you might have like 4 winners, 1 loser, then remove the loser and then turn on another 5. So because what happens is, if you take 30 phrase match and then just turn them into 30 broad match, your search terms are going to go from 10,000 per month to like 1 million per month. And Google's not going to have enough ad spend to work through all those quickly enough to give you a good result. So you have to choose a small subset of your phrase match keywords, turn them into broad, and find out what works. Now, risk your way, but more towards like a path to least resistance to the end, is to just take all those keywords and just turn them on and just see which ones start to work. And then just keep those enabled. You're going to waste a lot of money on, because a bunch of them are not going to work anymore, because keyword sculpting and keyword cannibalism is going to take place. So it's just going to start to pump in towards like, you know, specific keywords and not specific keywords. But if you change all of the phrase match to broad, you can do that. If you have enough budget, if you have enough time, you're like, yeah, I can give this, you know, kind of a couple weeks to see what kind of comes out the other side. You can absolutely do that. But if you say, hey, I really can't lose money and I'm really scared about this, then just take the top 5 performing key phrases and then turn those broad, because those top 5 that you turn into broad and you pause the other 25 will capture search terms for all of the other ones. So just understand how that's going to work. How would you promote client's beauty and makeup online course? Client also has a unique selling proposition that he provides business advice after finishing course, maybe some tips for this industry. This one is, Roman, is a very, very difficult industry. Here's the issue. There is so much noise in the makeup space, and also people who are providing courses for makeup, that it's like the #1 booming industry during the pandemic is people that stayed home and did makeup courses. There's probably 5,000 new instructors that do that now. I'm not going to disparage them. I'm not saying those instructors. There's actually 5,000 real instructors that all ran and said, hey, I'm really good, and they are. And so the problem is, though, that there's a lot of noise that was just created in the ecosystem. My opinion is to do YouTube videos and run them full. I mean, run like, if there's like a 10-minute tutorial, run the full 10-minute video as an ad. We did this with another client that had a 28-minute video. We had a 28-minute video as an ad, and it did great because it thoroughly explained everything that he has to offer, and we got a bunch of opt-ins. So I would take value first, content first. Every single possible thing he or she can put for free that's not going to give away like the secrets, but just the most amazing content, pay for it, expose it, and just let it run for a long time. That's my opinion. You have to break through that noise. So it's like, I keep seeing this person, they keep having awesome tips. Who are they? And then have the ad go to their YouTube channel, and have actually the ad go, well, you can send it to the website too, but what you have to do is you have to get buy-in from the audience that that's the person. No one's just going to see a makeup tutorial and be like, yep, that sounds good, I'm going to pay this person money. It doesn't happen that way. They have to learn. They have to see, is this my style? Do they have enough variations? Do I like the way that they keep creating their makeup on the mannequin or person, or whatever it is? So my opinion would be, if I was to run this, I would have probably like $500 to $1,000 a day on YouTube, and I would put 30 or 40 tutorials all for free there, however many they can produce. And this is not uncommon. We have some clients that will do we have 120 videos I'm running for one client right now at the same time. But you have to just provide a whole ton of value first that is repetitive. Don't send any impression caps. Don't send any watch caps. Just let this thing run wide open to any audience. I would use a DSK keyword of like makeup tips, makeup tutorials, those type of things, and let this thing run. It's going to be expensive. But if you're going to say, hey, I'd just like to become the thought leader in a really crowded, overblown industry, you're going to have to pay to get there, period. There's no other way to do it. Unless you have like, you know, makeup that no one else has ever seen before. But that's what I would say. You have to get the audience first, then monetize the audience. Run some list building campaigns, monetize via email. That's what I would say. How would you structure your ads? Still, nope, I only do 1 responsive or 2 responsive. I don't use expanded text ads anymore. It's just simply limits my exposure. So yeah, we're pretty much text ad out. If you wanted to have a text ad because of a very specific way, make a duplicate responsive search ad, pin headline 1, 2, and 3, and then description 1, 2. That's how you can still create an expanded text ad, but still not be too restricted by limitations. What's better, lower bid then increase or higher than decrease? Roman, can you repeat that? What's better, lower bid and then increase or higher than decrease? I'm not sure what you're saying. I think on YouTube, if you're switching from max CPC to target CPA, if you're switching from max CPC to target CPA, if you're getting like $20 leads, set it at 40 and then work your way down. If you just set it at 20, it's gonna say, well, you're gonna cut your audience in half. So you're still gonna get a $20 CPA, but your audience is gonna cut in half, so your volume is gonna get cut in half. Let's see. You're very welcome, Cecilia. How would you promote logistics company? Not sure what that means. I'm sorry. What's a logistics company? Like, do they do shipping? Are they like FedEx logistics? Or are we talking about, you know, mining equipment from A to B? Or let me know what I mean by that, because I'm not sure exactly. Logistics means kind of like everything to me. Please let me know. I also have a less dramatic questions about Facebook retargeting, which I've just started 3 days ago. The Facebook campaign says 14 visits to landing page. Google Ads says 54. The retargeting audience is bigger than 2,000 users according to analytics, but Facebook says under 1,000. Massive. So all I can tell you, Cecilia, honestly, I don't know much about Facebook. Facebook, in my opinion, is a big lying attribution company. You know, they count view-throughs as their own conversions. Their cold traffic audiences targets website visitors. Like, I don't like Facebook at all. It's just such an incestuous, uncontrollable network that has no attribution. I can't tell you honestly. Nothing ever made sense for me inside of Facebook. Everything was just my opinion. You can tell I don't like Facebook. It was a big BS center. It was just like, yeah, you got all these conversions. I'm like, no, I didn't. And it's like, yeah, I got all these clicks. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, yeah, I got all these likes and shares. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, nothing that the Facebook ads dashboard actually translated into real. And that's one of the reasons why years ago we decided to not offer Facebook. It was like, you know, my clients would just yell at me and saying, hey, why does it say this? I'm like, I don't know. Facebook's lying to you, but you're paying me to lie to you too. So it just, unfortunately, it's like asking me, like it's like asking like a person that's always been Chevy, why is Ford's good? I'm like, they're not. I have nothing against Ford. But I'm just saying, like, I'm so burned by Facebook because they did nothing but screw up our customers that I can't even recommend their platform. I don't like it at all. Nothing makes sense, and it's a whole big lying company. So let me tell you how I really feel. So yeah, I unfortunately I deal with it also like all the time with our existing clients. Facebook can be good, but if you just have to understand, I'm running Facebook, how is that working on my business? Not looking at individual metrics because they're just full of crap. Well, that helps. Corey, any major long-held best practices that have changed recently? Yeah, I mean, well, besides the phrase match to exact match or phrase match to broad match, I would say that one thing to think about, where I don't know if it's a big change, but since Google's moving into attribution more, is that before, when Google says that data-driven is the best one, I've actually talked to Google themselves. I had a meeting with them where I actually challenged them on a bunch of different points on data-driven. And they're like, well, actually, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And they actually said, hey, the way you're doing it right now, it makes sense, and don't change it. What that means is use the model comparison tool to identify what is going to give your campaigns the most amount of conversions. Whether it's first click, last click, attribution model, doesn't matter. Google doesn't need attributions. You need attribution, and you need to set your goals to your attribution that you're giving your own campaigns. Google doesn't care. Google sees everything. That's why they can give you the model comparison tool and say, well, if you use this, this is how we tell you. If you use that, this is what it would look like. So they're so Google doesn't need it, so don't really rely on it and don't really use it as a Google needs this. Look at it as the way that you need it. So first thing I would say is look at your attribution model, look at model comparison tools, say what attribution model gives majority of the conversion value to the campaigns that I need them to have it. Second thing is target CPA and target ROAS. As an example, if you need a $20 lead, set it to 30. If you need a 400 ROAS, set it to 350. Use the target return on ad spend not as I need this. Use it as a can you give me above or below, and give it room to breathe. And I think that's something where I think people don't really think about target CPA and target ROAS that much about is if you were to have a target cost per acquisition of 50 and you needed 50, you will get 50, but you'll have 10 conversions. If you needed 50 and you set it to 65, you can have 51 and you can have 26 conversions. So just use it as a guide, as a bumper, not like a sniping approach where it's like, give me that. Use it as a bumper, like, hey, stay between there and let it flow and let it fluctuate, let it learn and let it expand. So just as a quick, not really a change, but I think a lot of times that people don't really realize that. But nothing else big in terms of changing. No, not too many. That bra match was crazy. Maybe some advice is we have a shop with 100% leather handbags. They are 3 times expensive than competitors, but competitors have not 100% leather and even fake leather. How do you recommend optimizing feed? Oh, well, leather handbags, everyone's going to be really competitive in leather handbags. But what I would say is you need to focus on volume. I'm sorry, not volume, quality. Don't do any sales and do a lot of video. The thing is that people don't understand is that let me back up here. People don't buy a specific handbag because they can't see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, all that stuff online. So the way that you have to get bypass that is include a video with your handbags. REI does this, the recreational equipment. Those people that sell thousands and thousands of backpacks, they have a video. It's like, here's the backpack, here's the size, here's how it looks on my back. This is what you can fit into it. You see up here up close the stitching. Like you have a video that showcases that, and they're like, wow, it looks good. It's real leather. He or she said it 6 times in the video. When the woman or man put on the bag, like this is how big it looked. This is the color that looks in lighting. This is, all of the things that people say, like, well, I don't know if it's going to be big enough or small enough, or if it's going to have an odd smell, or if it's real leather, or if the stitching is going to come out, or it's going to stain, or I can't clean it. All those things you need to create video content on your landing page. It's free. Free as in terms of you don't have to run ad spend to it. But you can afford to charge 3 times as much and bring a lot of traffic in if you're showcasing why your product is good. Imagine you're sitting there in the store and you have a person come in and you have your leather handbag and you're like, it's real leather. Cool. Thanks. But if you say, hey, have you seen this wall? It's real leather. It has a 10-year warranty. It smells really great. It's got sizes and everything can fit into it really well. It's got, multiple pockets on the front and on the back. And this thing is actually fairly thin, so it's not hurting your back when you sit on it. You're doing selling through the video. And then you can say, now, well, why is that bag $300? I can get a $100 bag. Yeah, but that's the video. So I would say that's exactly what I would do. 33 big money. I think Google recommends to switch to broad match, but with ROAS target to make it safe. So yeah, you could switch to target ROAS or target CPA. But yeah, when you switch to broad, you need to run target CPA, target ROAS, even maximize conversions if you just need to gain that data quickly. Your end goal is target ROAS, target CPA. That's your end goal, unless you need positioning. Then don't use broad because you're just going to get all the positions for everything. So bad idea. If you're going to run broad, you need to eventually get to target CPA or target ROAS, but you have to start with maximize conversion value, maximize conversions. You can't take your campaign and just, not you can't, but you can if there's enough traffic and you have an in-demand product or or service. But it's very difficult to take a brand new campaign and just say, give me $5 leads. It's just never going to run. So what you have to do is you have to start a new campaign. If conversion value is important to you, run maximize conversion value first, start to gain that, and then say, okay, now that I have conversion value, can you give me this much? Or lead generation. Okay, now that I have a lead generation campaign, give me maximize conversions. Okay, now I'm getting a bunch of conversions. Can you now only give me conversion that costs me this much? You need to go through the 2 phases. And that's specifically for broad, but it still applies to price exact match. There we go. Drones, hey Drones. Hi John, glad to see you. Here's the question: in smart shopping ads, how much money should you spend to test product? $100 a day. Corey said, thanks, Drones. Question 2. I disabled the product in the Google Smart Shopping campaign, but I wanted to run again. Can it run again with the Google Ads data it has before? Yep, yeah, simply just turn it back on. And especially if you have GTIN, that'll come back really quickly. If not, give it a couple weeks. Melissa, hey John, I sent you a message on Facebook. I'm actually not on Facebook, Melissa. My email is john@sol8.com. I don't have a Facebook account. We have a company Facebook account that has my name on it, but that's just to gain access to things. But all my team is there. So I don't really have a Facebook account, but if you can email me, that'd be great. I don't really use Facebook. That's a Facebook. Only have 9 minutes before meeting. I want to say hi. Dang, she already left. Okay, hopefully she sees this. Corey, you said you don't do much keyword sculpting anymore, but when are you still doing keyword sculpting nowadays? I don't ever. Each time you do keyword sculpting, you're going to get a better result, but a limited scale. Here's the thing: is my strategies and your strategies will probably be much different. Because as an example for you, Corey, do you need as quickly as possible to spend $2,000 a day? If not, yeah, you can do keyword sculpting. I can't afford to, because that's going to limit scale and be like, hey, I got you a 7,000 ROAS, but you only made 1 or 2 leads a day. That might be perfect for you. It might be horrible for a client. The client pays for above 500 scale to the moon. If I start to do keyword sculpting on pure broad campaigns, as an example, you're going to start to see bad results. Now, the flip side, though, we don't use broad match keywords. I mean, 9 out of 10 times we don't use broad match keywords on lead generation campaigns. You can if it's like best fried chicken and you own a restaurant, cool. You can run pure broad and just be known as that person. But if lead quality is a thing, broad match, very, 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 very difficult. Lead quality on broad match, you don't have enough data points in order to identify where the quality leads are coming from. Out of 10 leads on this one search term, is it good or bad? Well, you only get that search term once on pure broad, a month maybe. So you can't really do that for lead generation. E-commerce, lead quality doesn't care. They buy or they don't buy. It's binary. So that way, if you see that you do have if you have a lot of keywords that are coming in, as an example, I spend $3,500 a day on 26 keywords. You can't keyword sculpt to 26 keywords, not really. And one ad group, in one campaign, I spend $3,500 a day, and I get 400, 500, and 700 ROAS, like depending upon the time of year. So again, $3,500 a day, and I can still spend more on 26 keywords. So as an example, that's the volume and that's the scale. If you need to generate a specific way that you need to sell that item, I disagree with it. I disagree with having to need to sell an item on only specific keywords. Now, if you're doing lead generation, don't do pure broad, but you do phrase exact, because then you can focus on lead quality. But on e-commerce, I'm going to take any keyword, regardless if it doesn't even make sense, and sell a product. My second best performing keyword that outperforms hammock is a hammock. A space hammock, 700 ROAS. Why? I don't care. Is it going to sell the products and I'm going to scale? Sure. I have rope swing. That's not a hammock keyword at all. Rope swing crushes it. Would I negative keyword that out normally? Yeah, but I let it give it time, and I did rope swing. All of a sudden, just blew up to the moon. 700 ROAS. How would you know that if it was going to be bad if you were going to keyword sculpt that out? You can't do it. So that's my opinion. And this happens with even defibrillator parts. I have defibrillator parts that have part numbers and not even of our products, but people look at that and say, oh yeah, I can get that instead. Works really, really well. So tons of ways. I have 40 examples off the top of my head that keyword sculpting I can't do inside of e-commerce, but I can do it in lead generation. Google Analytics, audience definitions, dynamic attributes. Can we create marketing audience for smart? No, unfortunately, Derek, I wish you could, but smart shopping does that by itself, based on the results that you give it. So unfortunately, you can use that in standard shopping campaigns, but just not smart shopping. Question 3, I want to increase our product price by 10 to 15%. Does that affect Google conversion? Do I have to wait around 2 to 3 months to do this? So here's the issue with this. Is if you increase your product price, know that you're going to take, let's say, whatever your time lag is, and you're probably going to throw out half those sales out the window. That's fine. If you have a 2-week time lag what you're doing is saying like, hey, you want to buy the product? Hey, what about the product? You've been on my website again. Are you interested in the product? It's in your cart. Ready to buy the product? Hey, by the way, it went up 15%. Want to buy the product? You're going to basically just start to hack off all those people. What that is doing is essentially saying that all the people that you're trying to sell that probably got close to sell, you just raise the price on them. They don't buy faster because of that. They usually don't buy, or they buy a few little ones that say like, yeah, it's okay. It only went up $12. I can still afford that. So just know that raise your price. You're going to go through your time lag, and then you go through probably about another 2 weeks of gaining new audience. So give yourself about a month after, or I would say a month after your time lag. So if your time lag is 12 days, give it 42 days. Give it a month after your time lag to see, okay, now here's a new audience with the new pricing, and they've never seen the pricing lower before, and then see how that works. Also, what you got to do though is think about, if you have a campaign that's focusing on new and repeat customers, you're taking the repeat customers and say, hey, do you want to buy it again? It's 15% more. So focus on new customer acquisition, give it an LTV that makes sense, run it that way. Hey, John, a few questions I was curious about. Sure. We'll get back to yours. That was the only one. Do we get a notification when someone fills out the lead form extension? Time consuming to download CS. We only use lead form extensions with CMS, or sorry, with the CRM tool. So we usually use like a HubSpot or something like that pulls a webhook, and that webhook does automations tell us. So I don't actually use lead notifications unless you have like an integration with Slack or an integration with some sort of CRM tool. But yeah, we don't for that reason. Because of that, but you have to basically like refresh every minute and say, did I get one? Did I get one? So have some sort of trigger. Even Zapier can send you a notification. So have something set up. How should an advertiser prepare for the upcoming holiday season in terms of budget and scale and increase 2x compared to the previous holiday season? What all metrics to look and consider? So it's too broad for me to give you any sort of specificity, but what you want to do is start, a month before your sale happens, focus on new customer acquisition, remove or greatly reduce ROAS goal, and start to scale. That's what I would say. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to acquire a new audience of users that are getting ready for the sale, but they're not going to buy yet. So you're going to hemorrhage money all the way up to your sale. Just imagine that. If you're usually getting 400% ROAS and you double your budget and you're going to go after new customers, your ROAS can go down to 100. But you're going to have twice as many people to sell come sale time. Make sure you also run GMC promotions during that time. What is optimized targeting to what is optimized conversion? If we are adding very similar products, should we add the same titles? Dan, I'm trying to think about what your question is. What is optimized target? That's a new, yeah. So optimized targeting basically takes all of your assets and says, okay, can you just let Google look at your entire account and say who I should go after? Most times very good, sometimes very bad. Where it's good is if you're just adding that audience to your existing campaign, you have a whole theme of your, I'm selling 10 items, or I'm trying to generate 2 leads, a very specific way. Use optimized targeting, because it's basically say, hey, can I look at everything you've ever done before and then use that to make myself smarter? If you say, well, no, because all that stuff back then I don't do anymore, don't do it. But if you say, yeah, I'm still doing the same thing I've been doing for 2 years, go ahead and use optimized targeting. That simply just looks at all of your assets, your landing pages, your keywords, your ads, your website, and says, hey, I'm just going to read everything, and then I'm going to go and find an audience I think is applicable, and you're going to let Google do that. If we're at it, all right, the next question, optimized conversions. That's the one where Google's going to check to see if it can identify the form fill and what Google received as information from that user to say, yep, that's the same conversion. My opinion, we've done it a bunch, and even Google themselves like maybe a 5% more accurate conversion. Like it's just a way to try to get past the iOS 15 issue. So a lot of times we haven't seen a big drop off at all. I think Google is getting more prepared for something that actually didn't take place. And I just don't really see too much value in it. So use it if you want to. It's not going to hurt you, but sometimes it's a big pain in the butt to get set up. Question 3, if we are adding very similar products, should we add the same titles? No, add very different everything. If you're adding different products, use different titles for sure. For the merchant SEO, that's a continuation. If we're adding very similar products, should we add the same titles for the merchant SEO and backend for the shopping campaigns, or should we? No, still the same question or same answer. Always use new titles and new descriptions. If you're adding similar products, because what you're going to do is you're going to say people that maybe not interested in that, we're interested in this. It has to be different enough on the surface for a person to say, aha, that looks different, and that has a different title, and that's different than what I've seen before. So absolutely add something different. Otherwise, Google may not run it at all. It might be like, hey, you got 5 impressions, same thing. looks too similar to the other product and we like that product better. Google doesn't allow me to use site link extensions because I send traffic to a single page landing page, so the URL is indifferent. No, that's it. You're unfortunately, Google won't allow you to use even page anchors as different URLs either. You can, but on a single page, a lot of times those will get disapproved. But yeah, if you have a single page solution, yeah, site link extensions aren't going to work for you, unfortunately. Okay, I mean, when I start search network, I don't have statistics for first place. It's better to start, for example, $3 per click and then lower bids. Oh yeah. So Roman, I would actually start with maximize clicks and then look at what CPC gets you what position. Maximize clicks favors the 1 penny and then moves up. So you're actually going to say, well, if I bid low and then bid higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, what happens? It's like $1, $2, $3, $4. So maximize clicks actually test low and then starts to increase. So then you look at your impression share start to grow and you're like, aha, for $3, I got 30, for $4, I got 40%, for $5, I got 50%. Use maximize clicks. Best way to say, like, I'm not really sure, stick on maximize clicks, just see what happens. It's a safest way to start small and scale up. Okay. Logistics company which transport different products in country, Poland, and Europe. I mean, besides the obvious one, like hire logistics company, best logistics company. But if you're saying transport, so, you know, I don't know what they call it in Europe. In the United States, it's like, you know, trucking company and hire flatbed and possibly hire movers. So I don't know what they're calling in Poland. I can't help there. I would give you an example of what in the United States, but I don't think that's going to translate into Polish. So I'm so sorry about that. Maybe Yvonne, if he sees that one day, we can have him comment. But unfortunately, I would absolutely do inbound search, use phrase and exact, and start to test different ways that people talk about those companies and use words like higher and best and local and top and see if, because those are buying indicator keywords. Like if you're looking for best, you know, not just curious, like what's the best shipping company? I just woke up one day and thought that. Like they usually are looking for someone that's going to hire, like, you know, ship a bunch of products and very expensive and be the best at it. I have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to try to do as many as I can here. I am beginning to not like Facebook either. Definitely looks like they're making up. Yeah, 100%. That's why we stopped using them. They're just a BS network, in my opinion. What do you think about maximize clicks for local lead gen? Exact and phrase match keywords only? Yeah, you can do that. Exact and phrase match, maximize clicks? Absolutely. If you know those exact and phrase match keywords, maximize clicks can be great because you're not maybe necessarily getting the top position, but you know that those convert really well and have good solid lead performance. Yeah, it's like running manual and throttling it yourself. So absolutely works. Sometimes maximize clicks can blow through the moon. I've seen maximize click go up to $120 a click. I'm like, really? But again, if it's working for you, then good, just based off those metrics. But yeah, very, very, very viable. And then switch to target CPA, maybe. Target CPA also favors Gmail accounts. So if it's like bob@gmail.com or sally@gmail.com, target CPA will deliver you more at Gmails. If lead quality is of a thing, and you need to have those people be like bob@thisisawesomecompany.com. If you're going after company owners or businesses like B2B, don't use target CPA at all. Do you recommend YouTube retargeting for online yoga industry? If so, how would you approach it? Thanks. Yeah, I would say that you could YouTube retargeting. Now, what you're going to have to make sure though is your audience is very appropriate. So here's what I would do: is I'd build a new audience inside of analytics. The analytics audience, I would say the people that stayed longer than 15 seconds or that went to more than 2 pages. Make sure to have some interest first before saying like, did they bounce off my site? Yeah, remarket to those people. So take the interested party and then do YouTube remarketing. That's a way for you to say like, okay, I'm going to put a really awesome YouTube ad in front of this person. I know that they were interested. This way you're not feeling like you're wasting any money. Give you the best test. But don't just remarket anybody that's been on your site from anywhere. That's bad, because then you're going to say, hey, that 75% junk traffic that came in organically, remarket to those people. All are bouncers, and I don't know why people aren't remarketing. So that's my opinion there. I have about 1 minute left, so I'm going to try to just do one more. When can we switch to maximize conversions or TCPA? I mean, how many conversions do you need monthly? It's not monthly until you have about 20 a week. 20 a week consistently. It's not like, okay, after 2 months, I finally got 20. 20 a week is where you're going to be optimal. I'm so sorry I have to run because I have another meeting starting in a couple minutes, but really appreciate everyone, and thank you so much, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.